Welcome back to part 2 of our squash drawing in honor of Native American Heritage Month. Squash is a part of the Three Sisters, squash, beans, and corn, a trinity of vegetables that grow well together and are a staple in Native American culture. Our artist is Helen Hardin, and with her we are looking and are trying to study her geometric shapes and lines that she uses in her artwork. Our background will also emphasize the geometric nature of our work by having more natural elements. Okay, so we're going to do leaf rubbings for the background using the rest of the cool colors that we didn't use yet, which would be blue and green. Now, leaves for actual squash are usually kind of wide. They're also spiky to protect the bottom of the plant. So using some wide ones is great. I also brought some other ones just for different kinds of textures. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure that your leaf is vein side up. So there's a smooth side, and then there's a side where you can feel these lines, you feel these veins. So when you put them under your paper, you're going to hide them under your paper in a space that is blank. I like to hold it with my not drawing hand and feel to make sure that I can feel those veins. Now for the texture rubbing, I like to use crayons without paper because I use the side of the crayon instead of the top. The top would create lines where the side would create more of a big area of color. So I like to tell my students, take your crayon, lay it down like it's having a nap. And then with your drawing hand, you can pinch and move the crayon back and forth to get that leaf rubbing. Make sure your non-drawing hand is holding that leaf down so it does not move. And I'm kind of going different directions to try to hit the edge of that leaf. Great. So for your next one, you can move your leaves. I'm gonna do one right here of a similar leaf. Use a different kind of green or blue. Hold my leaf, lay my crayon down like it's having a nap, and rub from different directions, side to side, up and down, until I get my leaf. Might want to use different leaves to create different textures. That is up to you, what's available to you. Now, if you don't have access to leaves, you could just draw different kinds of leaves in the background. If you just have crayons, you can kind of do the side technique and make the big areas of color and then use the top of the crayon then to draw the lines of the leaf. If you have colored pencils and leaves, you just have to kind of be careful. Let me show you how that would work. So I need to make sure that my color pencil is sharp. Let's use a sharper blue just for time's sake. And instead of using the top of the color pencil, you'd use the side. See how it's like shading rather than the color pencil lines. And it works the same when it comes to hitting the edges of the leaf. Trying to make sure that my leaf is facing up with the veins popping up so I get those nice lines. So try to fill your space. I like this one. It reminds me the most of squash leaves. And they can overlap too, might create a cool effect. Just try not to get too much color inside of your squash. All right, that was great. Okay, the last thing that I want to do I kind of want to add some more color to my squash, and I also want to make my background seem like it's kind of unified with my squash. So I'm gonna do a few lines around the edges, like a border, that relate to the lines inside of my squash. So remember, we had zigzags, triangles, and so what I want you to do for your artwork is that look at the lines that you made and create a border that looks like something that you drew here. So I'm going to do some triangles in the corners. Because I have some purple triangles. Then I'm going to do some more triangles in the center kind of areas of my page. I'm going to color them in yellow like those. And then I'm going to do a red zigzag to some of these triangles to kind of make my frame. And then maybe, there's that purple. I'll do some kind of waved lines that resemble those. All right, my last step is that I'm going to fill in my squashes. I'm gonna do that by painting. I'm gonna use watercolor, and because of wax resist, the watercolor will kind of bead away from my crayon marks. If you do not have watercolor, you can kind of lightly color in over top of it. So if I want to do like yellow on this one, I could lightly color over with usually lighter colors like yellows and oranges or pinks, so that you don't color completely over your designs. You want to color those in like that. And watercolor, remember the keyword is water. Ooh, my water's kind of muddy. Make sure you have clean water. And if your watercolor isn't quite beading up like it should, you can use kind of cleaner water just to spread out your color. You can also use a tissue, so blot it a little bit. And you want to stick to warmer colors. So I think I'm gonna do that one kind of a reddish, and that one kind of maybe yellow. I'll decide in a second. I think I'm going to do this one kind of red. Ooh, that's way too much color. I did not activate it well with water, so I'm just gonna add plain water to that and see how it spreads out a lot better. I think I'm gonna do a yellow to orange on that one. Yellow up here. Almost red orange down here. And there you have it, our squash honoring Native American Heritage Month and the complexities of this plant, inspired by Helen Hardin and her geometric designs inspired by her culture.